Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashimi Hawashai. This is your brother Ayathun. Double honors to the apostles and shalom to the elect out there, to your brothers and your sisters. Now, you brothers and sisters may have gotten this, may have seen this on your phones if you have an Apple phone. This was sent out this week, may have been yesterday or either today. And this is the latest update from Apple. This is iOS 13.5. And as you can see here, it says iOS 13.5 speeds up access to the passcode field on a devices with Face ID when you are wearing a face mask, and introduces the exposure notification API to support COVID-19 contact tracing apps from public health authorities. Blah, blah, blah. Now, if you brothers and sisters haven't heard, there's a bill that's been passed, HR 6666. It's either passed or it's on its way to being passed. And you can basically say it's passed because, I mean, they're rolling out the software already for the contact tracing apps. So this is an API that they're making available to software developers. Basically what that means is they're updating your phone with the ability for any governmental agency or any developer that has, I'm sure you're going to have to apply for a license or the authority to create software. But basically this allows anybody that has the API key or the key to access the API, which the API is something that's built. An API is something that is built between the phone and the towers, right? And anybody with a special key can hook into that signal and they can extract information, so they can extract location information, extract your identity, who owns the phone, this and that. So API allows anybody with the key to access that API. It allows them to extract information from the phone. So this is going to allow government agencies to create whatever apps they want to create, to send a signal out to your phone and grab information from your phone, personal information about you. And they're using this for this, the Trojan horse for this is this COVID-19, and it will be the contact tracing apps, right? And so this is the way it works. And this is all part of moving towards the NWO and the RFID, conditioning people for the RFID microchip, okay? So basically, whether you take the chip or not, they're developing technology to where they're going to track your ass anyway. So let me go here so I can read a little bit about what this does. So as you brothers and sisters may or may not heard, Apple and Google came together to make this possible, which we all know, that's the red and the blue, right? So there's two opposing forces, Apple, Google. If you're an Apple fanboy, that's what I call an Apple fanboy, and you have an Android device, they make fun of the Apple people. And the Apple people make fun of the Android people. Just like you got Republicans that'll make fun of Democrats, vice versa. And you got Shell and you got Mobile. You got the red and the blue, but they both work for the same people. So Apple and Google, which there were never rivalries in reality, or never had any opposing agendas in reality. Both work for the same people, and they create opposing forces so that they can appeal to the different people out there. But the trick is they both work or are hired by the same people. So you see the title here. It says Apple and Google are enabling COVID-19 contact tracing. The tech giants have teamed up to use a Bluetooth-based framework to keep track of the spread of infections without compromising location privacy. So what they're doing is they're using the Bluetooth technology in your phone. And, if you brothers that are into tech, every year they upgrade the Bluetooth technology. So you have now the latest is called well, shit, it might be old now, Bluetooth 3.0, which may be old, probably old. It's probably old now, but if you shop for computers, you'll notice that, you know, you'll see Bluetooth 2.0, you'll see Bluetooth 3.0. Bluetooth 3.0, as far as I know, is the latest technology. And the better the technology gets with the Bluetooth, the more devices they can communicate with, and the more control you have over different devices. You see? So let's read down. I'm going to read down to the meat of this and skip all the boring technical shit. Let me see. Okay, so hold on, Slack, excuse me. I'm just trying to go down to the information that's written in English. Okay, so let's start from here. Now, Google and Apple are teaming up to give contact tracers the ingredients to make the system possible, right? That's what I was talking about earlier. The information that developers can hook into to grab whatever information they want, while in theory, still preserving the privacy of those who use it, right? They always say that we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, but in reality, they have access to everything. That's the reality. On Friday, the two companies announced a rare joint project to create the groundwork for Bluetooth-based contact tracing apps that can work across both iOS and Android phones. Okay, so let me read down. I'm going to skip around. The API, as it reads here, the API will let those apps, matter of fact, let me read up. In mid-May, right, I'm over here. In mid-May, they plan to release an application programming interface that apps from public health organizations can tap into. Okay, that's the API that I was talking about. The API will let those apps use a phone's Bluetooth radios, which have a range of about 30 feet, to keep track of whether a smartphone's owner has come into contact with someone later who turns out to have been infected with COVID-19. Once alerted, that user can then self-isolate or get tested themselves. Let me read down. Crucially, Google and Apple says the system won't involve tracking users' locations or even collecting any identifying data that would be stored on a server. Sure, whatever you say. Let me read down. I think that's, I'm not going to go too heavy in it. I'll put the link if you brothers want to read into it. It says down here, okay, here's the part I wanted to get to. I'm going to read this quick. In a version of the system set to roll out next month, the operating system level Bluetooth tracing would allow users to opt in to a Bluetooth-based proximity detection scheme when they download a contact tracing app. Their phone would then constantly ping out Bluetooth signals to others nearby, while also listening for communications from nearby phones. And if you notice, brothers, we've been bringing this, myself, other elders have been bringing this out. You notice the phones don't have removable batteries anymore. It's because they want to constantly have the ability to track. And if you notice, they've been bragging and boasting on the latest phones that they have bigger batteries that last longer, 5400 mAh battery. This phone's got a 3000 mAh battery. What that represents is the longevity, how long you can have the phone on without having to recharge it. And the reason why they're doing that is, as the reason reveals itself as you read more and more into the technology, is because for your Bluetooth and also for the RFID and the tracking systems to work, your phone constantly has to ping out. You know what a ping is? Is remember the old, when you watch the old movies, or even now, when you watch radars, and then you'll see the little line that kind of goes around the radar and it goes boop, 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 and you'll see a little dot pinging on the radar screen. Well, that's called a ping, right? It's little signals that the phone sends out, or whatever the device is, they'll send out a ping every 30 seconds, and then the recipient or the receiving device will pick it up. Bing, bing, bing. That's called a ping. So it says their phones would constantly ping out Bluetooth signals to others nearby while also listening for communications from nearby phones. So in theory, it works almost like an NFC, near field communication, but is using Bluetooth. Okay, for the near field communication, like let's say you want to pay with your phone, you have to actually use a fingerprint, or you press a button and then it actually sends out a signal to to where they scan your credit card or they receive the phone signal. You have to manually do it. But with this device, what they're saying is that your phone will automatically do it whether you want it to or not. It's just going to do it. So you need a big battery, of course, to support that, right? So if you read down, it says if two phones spend more than a few minutes within range of one another, they would each record contact with the other phone, exchanging unique rotating identifier beacon numbers that are based on keys stored on each device. So in English, let me read down. Public health, they put Heath. All right, they should fire the editor. Public health app developers would be able to tune both the proximity and the amount of time necessary to qualify as contact based on current information about how COVID-19 spreads. So basically, man, you can walk by somebody, and what it's saying there that it's saying that the developer can tune the proximity. What that means is that they could tune the phone to that. You could spend 10 seconds next to somebody, another phone, and then it'll ping it, or it'll communicate with the other phone, or they could tune it so you spend 10 minutes next to another person, So basically what that means is they can tell whether you're chilling with somebody that you know, because if you're sitting there with the person and it's pinging for 10 minutes straight or 15 or 20 minutes straight, then you know that whoever that owns that other phone that's communicating with, it must be somebody that you know, because you're sitting there chilling with them for 10 minutes. If it was a 10-second ping, if they set the ping to 10 seconds, so it doesn't pick up anybody that you was only next to for 10 seconds, and you're probably in a store or somewhere, and you just was probably passing by or paying for something, and they know, okay, that's probably something that's a stranger. I'm trying to paint a picture of how they could use this technology, and they could do unlimited amount of things with it, you see? But the main point is that they're moving closer, and you could see why they've been building these smartphones, because without smartphones and without this technology, they wouldn't be able to do this. And we all know that they've been allegedly been planning this for a long time, from the evidence that's been coming out from the books and the movies that have been mentioning this stuff. So you just got to put two and two together. Like I always say, it's critical thought. You got to have critical thought, critical thinking. So reading down, it says if a user is later diagnosed, right? I'm over here. If a user is later diagnosed with COVID-19, they would alert their app with a tap, and with a tap, the app would then upload their last 2 weeks of keys to a server, which would then generate the recent beacon numbers and send them out to other phones in the system. If somebody else's phone finds out one of these beacon numbers matches the one stored on their phone, they would be notified they've been in contact with a potentially infected person and given information about how to help prevent further spread. So you can see like the ramifications of this, right? So basically, what they're doing is they're having people snitch on each other, right? It's a neighborhood watch program on your phone. So if you happen to pass by somebody that, let's say, has deemed to have the virus, and your phone made contact with their phone, meaning they share the same key, it could be 2 weeks later, a month later, your phone, you would get a ping on your phone saying that, hey, you've been next to somebody that has COVID-19, blah, blah, blah. So automatically, that person to you becomes an enemy of the state to you, and you also become an enemy of the state. And what happens through the HR 6666 bill, if the details of that, is that they're going to have government officials on standby, okay, that's going to receive this information, and they're going to give your ass a call. And you might even get a knock on your door. They may bust down the door. Who knows what they're going to do? But the bottom line is this is a leap. I'm not going to even say a step. This is a giant leap towards the NWO. And this whole thing, as it seems, is all about tracking tracking and more control over people's lives. Okay, so I'm going to end this off with a scripture, as we always do. This is Ecclesiastes. In the scriptures, chapter 12, I'm going to read from 1. I'm going to read quickly, probably down to about 4. It says, remember thou now thy creator, who's that? Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Right? So we've been saying for years that the Most High is closing the doors of mercy. Apostle Tahara has said that he believes that all the elect has been sealed already, which, hey, that may well be the case, that all the elect has already been sealed and the evil days are here. So, the doors of mercy may be closed, meaning that nobody else can be let in. We don't know. Only the Most High knows. But the scriptures say, look, you got to get close to the Most High before these days come nigh. Don't wait until you see ish hitting the fan, so to speak, for you to jump in and try to get close to the Most High. Because the scripture, what did Yahweh Shai say? He said that a wicked and adulterous generation, which is obviously what we're in right now, seeketh a sign. So they're going to wait until the door is just about to hit their ass on the way out to try to jump in. It doesn't work like that. It don't work like that. Verse 2, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened or the clouds return after the rain. And this is exactly what I just said. This is talking about the lack of basically people in not knowing, in a state of confusion, not knowing what the hell is going on. And the clouds nor the clouds return after the rain. Verse 3 says, in the day when the keepers of the house, and we know who that is, that's the banking families. Okay, the house is what? America. The stock market, this so-called world, this matrix you see around you. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble and the strong men shall bow themselves, right? And the keepers of the house also represent those that are in charge of keeping this house straight. Those that watch the stock market, those that are in the Senate houses, those are governors, mayors, all of those. And the strong men shall bow themselves and the grinders shall cease because there are few. Talking about what? The job market. And those that look out of the window shall be darkened. So those that are looking out for the benefit of the economy or the stock market, they're not giving great reviews right now. If you search on YouTube, even those that give financial help and how to stack money and how to use your 401k, they're all making videos about, is the stock market going to crash? Are we headed towards recession? Are we headed towards a depression? You see? So the grinding is ceasing. The light of the moon and the stars is looking dim. All right. So you've seen what all this means. Verse 4, and the doors shall be shut in the street, and the sounds of the grinding is low, the jobs. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Ain't no concerts right now. Ain't nobody touring, making bucks. Nobody. All the daughters of music, the Hollywood stars are freaking, especially those that are in the music industry. They're home right now, growing big beards and DJ parties from home, live streaming. So they're being brought low. Ain't nobody out there going out there buying records and albums or buying tickets to tours and comedy shows and all that. So I'm going to read 5. Okay, because verse 5, this whole chapter is good. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, this is the Most High, why Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. This means the Lord is going to start sending signs that cannot be explained by a scientific term or some theory. He's going to cause signs that are, even on YouTube now, you see a lot of videos about strange things happening across the world. Sounds and bees dropping and birds dropping, and all types of craziness in diverse places that can only be explained by this is the end of the world and the Most High is bringing judgment. So it says also when they shall be afraid of that which is high and fear shall be in the way, right? People are afraid right now, and the almond tree shall flourish and the grasshopper shall be a burden and desire shall fail because man goeth to his long home and the mourners go about the streets. Right. So people had dreams and aspirations and starting small businesses, and maybe their business just started booming, everything just came to a halt and it crashed. This was a huge reset. And this huge reset made a lot of millionaires. A lot of insiders became millionaires. You know, but anyway, brothers, with that, I'm going to say, brothers and sisters, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, and I'm going to say shalom to the next one. Shalom.